Are you 100% sure you're financially ready to retire? Well, in today's video, I'm going to share the 5 key numbers every high income professional needs to know in order to retire confidently. Now, if you're new to this channel, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a Louisiana dentist on a mission to help you get to work optional status. I have a free passive income training just for you. I've got the link below the video. Let's get going. All right. The first number that you're going to need to know before retiring, as you can imagine, are going to be your annual expenses. This is the foundation of your retirement plan. Before you roll your eyes or go, "Oh, I don't know about that," I've got a few ways for you to figure it out. Make it easy on you. Okay. The first method is a detailed breakdown of your spending. Okay. This is going to involve categorizing. Wait, I promise you it's going to get easy. Okay. Just hear me out. Okay. Categorizing everything that you pay for. Start with the essentials: mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance. These are non-negotiables, right? Next, look at your wants: dining out, vacation, luxury upgrade, something like that. If you're like my wife and I, and you have a separate credit cards, here's the easy part. If you have a separate credit card for your personal expenses outside, if you run a business or you run a dental practice like me, if you've got a separate credit card, all you have to do is log into that credit card's website, go to the top, look at statements, and run. You can actually, for expenses, you can run an annual report, or you can run it monthly, however you want to do it. This will not only show you what you're spending each year, but it can also go in and break down the different categories too. Okay. Now, if this is just completely overwhelming, you're not a tech person, you don't think you can log into this and that, I'll make it even easier for you. Look at your after tax take home pay and subtract the amount that you're saving each year. For example, if your take home pay, let's say your take home pay is $300,000 a year, and then you save 50,000 a year. Okay. Well, then more than likely you're spending $250,000 a year. Okay. Doesn't matter how you get it. I like the first method where you can print it out, but if you can do it like this, that's fine. But your expenses, this figure is critical. Every time I talk to my coaching clients, that's like the first thing that I'm asking them, because I like to start with the end in mind and work backwards. You have to know, you have to know this because you have to estimate how much you're going to need in retirement. Remember also, spending often shifts when you stop working. So it's also a good idea to figure out what your retirement budget is and start testing it out before you actually retire. Maybe you do it for 6 months, maybe you do it for a year or whatever. That way you kind of know, oh man, this isn't enough money, or oh, this is plenty of money. You know what's best for you, not me. Number two, so once you know your expenses, it's now time to figure out, where is your income going to come from in retirement? So number two, you're going to need to know income sources for retirement. If you're a high income earner, then more than likely you understand that Social Security is likely going to cover only just a small portion of what you need. Other income sources, you may have a pension, which there's less and less people out there now that are having pensions, but you may be one of the lucky ones. You may be getting a pension. You may have rental properties. Hopefully you do. Distributions from or dividends from stocks, or distributions from investments like real estate syndications, which is what I love. Okay. So let's say, for example, you figured out you're going to get about 500 grand, excuse me, you're going to get $50,000 a year in Social Security. Okay. And then let's say you've got some rental property, some real estate that's giving you another 30. Okay. So now you know roughly you're going to have about $80,000 a year in income. Let's go back to this example. If your expenses are 250, then you know you have a gap to address. Okay. Understanding this gap between what you're going to be making in retirement plus the income source plus your expenses. So the retirement gap is basically the difference between your annual expenses and your income. So that's actually the third number you're going to need, is the retirement gap. Again, this is the difference between your annual expenses and then all of your income source, your retirement income sources. $250,000 a year, that's your expenses in retirement for this individual. For this, let's say this is a dentist that's retiring, earning $80,000 a year, Social Security, real estate. So their gap, they're going to have roughly $170,000 gap per year that they're going to have to make up for. Again, this is where your investment portfolio comes into play. If you use the traditional 4% rule, which suggests you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year without running out of money over 30 years, you're going to need to multiply your gap. In this case, it's $170,000 times 25. Okay. So in this, and I've already done the math, so that's why I know this. I'm not a math wizard by any means. So in this case, this individual, this dentist, is going to need roughly $4.25 million in investments to cover it. However, if you're retiring earlier, or maybe you want to plan for a longer retirement, you may need to lower from 4% to 3%. Okay. Then that gap is actually going to grow to, well, you're actually going to need 5.67 million to retire. As you can imagine, most people don't have nearly enough saved, which is why I actually recommend a hybrid approach by both investing in the stock market, like index funds. So, we have a practice retirement account. It's got index funds in it. So you're investing for long-term growth. You're investing for compounding interest on the side. Plus, we do real estate, specifically real estate syndications, which give you cash flow now that you can use. So now I've got money coming in. I don't even account for Social Security. I've got money coming in, or going to be having money coming in as I'm taking money out of my index funds plus syndications, and I can add those two together because those are going to be my main two income sources. Okay, that's number three. Number four, your fourth number that you need to know is you need to know your retirement timeline. Your retirement timeline. Basically, how long will you need your money to last? If you're retiring in your 50s, you may have another 30 or 40 years ahead of you. The longer your retirement horizon, the more conservative you need to be with your withdrawal rate and investment strategy. Again, unless you use my strategy, again, with real estate, filling in the gaps. This is why planning for your specific timeline is critical. A longer retirement means factoring in more years of market fluctuations, inflation, and unexpected costs. If you have a family history of people that live into their mid to late 90s or even longer, this becomes even more important. Knowing your timeline helps you build confidence in your plan to ensure that your portfolio can sustain you however long those years are going to be, right? Nobody can predict the future, but you kind of have to look at what you have to work with. Okay. Last but not least, the fifth number you must know is going to be your cash reserve. Most people don't think about this. Just like when I did the 7 baby steps with Dave Ramsey, recommends that you start with emergency fund, right? Even in retirement, having a cash reserve is really non-negotiable. Think of it as sort of like your emergency fund. This is going to be your retirement safety net, financial safety net. A good rule of thumb is to keep anywhere from 1 to 2 years worth of living expenses in cash or some sort of money market account, high yield savings account, something like that. This is going to ensure that you're not forced to actually sell your investments during market downturns just to cover your living costs. Okay. So if you have a car that goes out unexpectedly and you need to drop 40, 50 grand, I don't want you selling off some stocks or mutual funds that are in the stock market's down versus you can just go pull from your reserve. Let's go back over here. This person, $250,000 in annual expenses. That means he needs to have anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 in liquid reserves. Again, having this buffer is going to give you the flexibility to weather market volatility and even take advantage of opportunities, like maybe buying assets at a discount during a downturn. Another thing I want you to look at, sort of a bonus number. Are you ready for the unexpected? Just like life, retirement is full of curveballs, from health issues, unexpected medical expenses, to, if you're relying on the stock market, market corrections. Ask yourself, how flexible is your plan? Would the stock market drop make you panic? Are you prepared to adjust your spending if needed? Think about what happened during COVID. If you were retired during COVID, the market's tanking. This is almost like the world's coming to an end. A lot of retirees, I'm sure they had to adjust their spending, because flexibility is going to be the key to navigating the unexpected as confidently as possible. But most importantly, I want you to consider your health, because if you anticipate a shorter window of active, healthy years, it really might make sense just to retire earlier and then enjoy that time to the fullest. Because retirement isn't just about money, it's about having the freedom and the health to live on your own terms. Now, in the back of your head, if you're contemplating retiring wherever you are right now, and you're not quite sure if you're ready or not, do me a favor, check out this video for some answers.